Item C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with KJ Woods Construction for the Mastick Avenue Utility Improvements Project in the amount of $1,295,286.70 and approving the construction budget in the amount of $1,560,000. Staff report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This agenda item is for Council to adopt resolution to authorizing the city manager to execute a construction contract with KJ Woods in the amount of $1,295,286.70 and approving the construction budget in the amount of $1.56 million. In this first slide here, that shows the limits of construction for this project. The scope of this project includes the installation of approximately 3,000 feet of new sewer mains and replacement of sewer laterals and manholes, and also the installation of approximately 3,000 linear feet of water main, water service laterals, and also the valves, water valves, on Mastick Avenue between Angus and St. Philip. Upon the completion of these utilities, the street will be repaved from St. Philip up to Taylor, and between Taylor and Angus, the street will be slurry sealed. To give you a little background about this project, the water mains on Mastick Avenue is over 50 years old, and it is in very poor condition. This stretch of pipeline has been patched and repatched, and also with a constant rupture of the water mains, it creates an issue for the neighborhood. Then city crew often have to expend significant time and effort for the repair and maintenance, also just to keep in order to provide uninterrupted water service for this area. The sewer system of this neighborhood is also in decrepit condition. And this area has a relatively flat grade, and that further impairs the flow of wastewater and causes sanitary sewer overflows. The water main replacement project has been a priority capital improvement project for the last several years. And during if we were to go ahead with this project and while we have the street open, it is prudent that we also replace the wastewater main at the same time to minimize disruption to the neighborhood. Prior to advertising this project, the city staff met with the council utilities subcommittee to review the issues regarding sewer laterals and also clean out connections. A sewer lateral is the section of underground pipe that goes from the house to the sewer main in the street. And we divide the sewer lateral into the upper and the lower laterals. The upper one being from the house to the property boundary, and the lower lateral from the property boundary to the sewer main. And also in between, there's usually a clean out connection. There's a wide connection between the upper and lower laterals that provide access to cleaning the lower lateral. And in the meeting with the utility subcommittee, the subcommittee concurred with staff's recommendation that as part of the underground work for this project, the city would install the new low lateral from the sewer main up to the pavement, edge of the pavement. Then the reason for replacing the lateral to the edge of pavement is because some of the lateral, the sewer pipe, including laterals in this area, they are made of a material known as orangeburg, which is essentially cardboard. And that material will crumble if any significant force is applied to the pipe. So by installing the new lateral, the lower lateral, up to the edge of the pavement, there will be room for the contractor to chase the lateral upstream just in the event that they are unable to secure proper connection at the edge of the lateral, and they can still go beyond upstream underneath the sidewalk and to hook up the connection to the upper lateral. On May 19th, the city notified 75 property owners along the Mastick Avenue regarding a public meeting to be held at City Hall on June 2nd about this upcoming construction. The notice stated that many of the sewer laterals in the area are over 50 years old and they may be damaged. And if the city finds that the upper lateral is in such poor condition that there's no reasonable way for the contractor to connect the lower lateral, the new lower lateral to the damaged upper lateral, then the city will give the homeowner 3 days to replace the upper lateral. And if the upper lateral is not repaired within 3 days, then the city may remove water service until the repair is made. The notice recommended that the property owners contact a private contractor to arrange for replacing the upper lateral or made a private agreement with the city's contractor to do the work. By installing a clean out at the property boundary, the city will also assume responsibility to maintain the lower sewer lateral. And there were no attendees at this public meeting. Well, staff plans to send a follow-up letter to the 75 property owners after the council award, and a third letter about approximately 2 weeks prior to construction to update the residents about this the construction contract. And in compliance with the state contract code and the city's purchasing regulation, this project was advertised twice in San Mateo Times and also on the city website. A total of 18 contractors attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting on May 18th.
May 18th.
Yes.
All right, that's enough.
Okay, and this second slide shows the bid results. A total of 6 bids were received by the city and opened on May 28th. And with the following bid results. The low bidder, KJ Woods Construction, in the amount of $1,295,287. The engineer estimate is $1.65 million. As you can see, the 6 bids received were within range of the engineer's estimate, and with the low bidder approximately 20% below the engineer estimate, and this reflects a relatively competitive climate for the industry, bidding climate. KJ Wood has a valid contractor's license and has met the qualifications set forth in the contract documents and is considered to be a qualified, responsive, and responsible bidder. The contract allowed for 100 working days to complete the work. If the council would approve the award of this contract, it's possible for the city to finalize the agreement with the contractor by August 1st, and then construction can be completed by the end of December. Okay. And for this third slide here, that shows the fiscal impact. The proposed construction budget for this Mastick Avenue utility project is $1.56 million, and that includes the bid price plus the 20% contingency. And the 20% contingency, it's a little higher than the standard 15%. This is due to the fact that we anticipate that the contractor may encounter damaged sewer lateral, and they have to do further work to go upstream and under the sidewalk to connect the laterals. And the total construction cost is estimated as $1.675 million. And this is well within the fiscal year 2010 to 11 proposed expenditure of $2.35 million for the combined water and sewer, wastewater main replacement projects. So with that, I'm open for questions.
Any questions?
Through the chair. It's interesting because you say that, I mean, in the bulk of the introduction of the staff report, you say that, you know, that these sewer mains and everything are over 50 years old. Well, isn't everything in the city pretty much 50 years old, except that things that have been replaced in the last 10 years and possibly things west of Skyline or something. So everything is over 50 years old, correct? What makes this section so important? I mean, are we looking at just hundreds and hundreds of 3,000-foot sections of replacement? I mean, this just happens to be the one we're going to do this year?
Well, the 50 years old is a conservative estimate. Some part of the city might be more 50 years old, and this part, I mean, some other part may be less 50 years old. This is actually the earlier part of San Bruno that is way over 50 years old. So I would say it's more in the 1920, 1930 that this areas was constructed. And that's when the Orangeburg pipe exists.
Well, I guess not being facetious, but I mean, you catch my attention if you say that it's a 80 or 90-year-old section of piping versus more than 50 years old, because I'm more than 50 years old and my piping's...
I'm not.
My plumbing's okay, but...
For the record.
I want to clarify in addition, Ving already emphasized in the beginning of his presentation that the main reason besides the age, and certainly this portion of the city is the oldest part of the city, and the age of the pipe is probably
constant
higher,
breaks.
yes, than in other portion of the city. But the main reason why this project was prioritized as the first urgency project is the cost of the ongoing maintenance and response time for the water main at this location. And mainly the water replacement project really drove the priority on to replace at this location. And how you can see from the result, certainly replacing them in the same time really is a financial advantage. Besides the fact how being already emphasized is a less disruption to the residents of the area, that replacing both of those sewer and water in the same time and paving the street, that really will guarantee for many years to come that the utilities and the street was addressed, and you are not replacing just the water, and then you are coming back for sewer replacement and you are cutting up the street again. Also, the sewer has and in many locations at this section is structurally already failed. You can even see in the pavement bumps that, based on the description of our employee, you can see here basically the main already had structural failure through this whole area.
Now I'm more convinced. Okay. My only other concern is that you're going through a whole series of notifications to these 75 property owners. I would make it very clear to them that they need to notify the city, or at least confirm with the city that they have been, that they know what's going on. It's nice that you're going to provide them with, 3 notices, but how do we know that, there's a percentage of property owners that aren't even responding to the 3rd notice? I would feel a lot more comfortable that we do our due diligence to make sure that those property owners, and in many cases, there may be a rental unit where the person that, the person that suffers from a water being turned off is actually a tenant. So, because of a non-responsive property owner. So I would hope that we do everything we can to at least get some confirmation that that a property owner knows that this project is going on.
The department will follow up and will do everything what is feasible and possible to make sure that the residents are aware of the situation and they are engaged.
Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, a little bit of what Councilmember Ibarra said. That was my concern when I walked it and I saw some multi-units. So obviously it would probably go to the property owner, not to those 4 folks that are residing within that unit structure. So that's a concern. As far as the parking, is that also being addressed? As far as, will that disrupt? Will they be able to get in and out access? We have our cable department that comes in and out at the back end near Taylor. We have a business that also is up the street that has their parking that you enter from El Camino, or from Mastick. So I'm also a little, because when you're saying we're going to shut it off in 3 days, I understand why. But how are we going to be assured that they have had notification and, things do happen, people throw it away, maybe whatever the case may be. I would just hate that what we could have prevented caused more anger by us not going the extra step, and also communicating how long the project would be to the residents. They have a phone number that they can contact in order to get any data or information. Those are some of my questions on that. I don't know if that could be addressed by the director or whomever.
Yes, regarding the instance that we might have to turn off the water, because we are only bringing the sewer lateral to the pavement, and we anticipated that by going further upstream that we will be able to secure a proper connection. And we don't anticipate that there will be too many of such instances that we have to turn off the water. And hopefully there will be none. And
None is
in
better.
case there is something like that, we will personally work on a case-by-case basis, contact the homeowner, do all our due diligence to work with the homeowner to make sure that nobody will suffer at the,
And you'll communicate the parking and the traffic, and just so the people are aware that it's going to be challenging, they may not get in there, et cetera. I think it's just important. The businesses might be affected with their parking on Mastick, just those things. I think it's just communication, that's what's key.
Definitely, and with all our sewer projects, we notified the homeowners that, regarding the
residents.
the homeowner and the resident that they might anticipate a little bit of noise, a little bit of dust, and there might be some inconvenience with displacement of parking. And at all time, like all our other projects, the residents will be able to go in and out of the driveway. The contractor to lay down plates and things like that for them. So nobody will be stranded out of their homes. Yes.
Just for your comfort level also, Wing didn't mention specifically that the water main is a open trench construction, but the sewer is not. That means, yes, will be disruption to the residents, but is not quite that high versus both of those construction would be open trench construction. And just to follow up on your questions and concern, the department will make sure that not just the property owners, but also the residents will be notified as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, action?
Go ahead and introduce the resolution.
Vice Mayor Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Ibera,
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.